So the next episode is Lower Berth, episode 14. It's different. It's all about a sideshow, a freak show to some extent. You are in this place and you see it looks like the world depicted in Did That Cat Real Gone from season 1, the world of attraction, of sideshows, of profit, of showing monsters and using people. But it's not very deep. It's not a deep episode from the point of view of the storyline. Well, references are clear. The Elephant Man, Freaks, and the Mummy. It's the first time that the Mummy appears in Tales from the Crypt. You have the monster, the typical monster of the cinema, fantasy cinema, such as vampires, coming in episode 18, The Secret, from season 2. The werewolf too, coming in the same episode, 18. The zombies were already seen many times. Those are trademarks. But here the mummy is just shown. There is no really suspense related to the mummy. So the story is very simple. You got this sideshow freak with two faces. And this captive stands behind cages, in his cage, and it's clear, it's just like the Elephant Man. He's mistreated, he's beaten, he's the main attraction of the sideshow, and you got this bearded man who's a bad man, who's hitting him, and so on and so forth. So it's all about exploitation and profit. Once again, I told about this in the episode Dig That Cat. It's really gone. The way people pay to see monsters or horrible things, some things that fascinate people, and most of the time forbidden things, occult things that remain hidden, just like this two-faced monster. And one interesting thing is that all about showing the man using monsters. We already know this. We know that the monsters, the real monsters, are the men using the so-called monsters, the freaks. But this scene that's interesting in that one is the scene where the girl comes next to the cage of the monster, the two-faced monster, and she sees him, as most children would, I guess. Children are afraid of the differences, the physical discrepancies of the monsters. They're not afraid. And she understands that this freak, this two-faced man, is falling in love with a new attraction, a 4,000-year-old mummy. And she helps him by showing him this great sight. This mummy is said to be cursed, not new. It's always the case with mummies, most of the time. And I'm not a big expert in the mummy movies, but it's always it's predictable. And well, so it's a love story between the monsters, who are not real monsters from the heart, from the point of view of the heart. References to the Elephant Man are clear, evident, and what I like is once again, just like the previous episode, episode 13, Corman's Calamity, it's totally different universe, but it's self-referential about Tales from the Crypt, because the union of the two monsters is actually the story of the Crypt Keeper. This is the twist. In the ending, we see that the monsters have fled after the owner, the bad guy, bad bearded man, had been killed. And they have fled, and the police later she finds them back, this couple, and we see in that kind of cave that they are sleeping together, and the camera moves, the tracking shot shows the crypt keeper as a baby. So it's a great idea here. I loved it the first time I saw the episode. Now I think it's a bit shallow, it's funny, it's a tale within the tales, it's the origin, we would call that the Tales from the Crypt Begins. It's telling the origin of the crypt keeper, half Egyptian, but who cares? All in all, it's a bit silly story as it was, as I read on some reviews. Silly in a way, yes, because it's just an anecdote. It's not all about the human psyche, just like in Dig That Cat, it's really gone. It's more a little story of monster to fascinate children or the younger viewers. But it's forgettable, I guess. The set of the episode is maybe it's all about showing. The interesting word of monster means you show people. People show in sideshows, and the series shows horrors, may they be physical or psychological. So it's all about showing and seeing, and it is the purposeful presence of the crypt keeper in a way. He shows stories, and we see him as a monster too. A monster showing monstrosity. And so Lower Berth, that's all I have to say about this one. It's good to watch once, but all of it was written by Fred Dekker, who also wrote The Thing from the Grave. It's not as good as The Thing from the Grave. And it was directed by a makeup effect artist. So, but it's like the same pattern as The Elephant Man mixed with The Mummy love story. So Lower Berth explained the roots of the Crypt Keeper. Thanks for watching.